In Spanish, you can say a complete sentence without using the words I, you, he, or she. You'll see sentences that just start with a verb, no pronoun at all. This confuses English speakers because we never do this, but Spanish has a built-in system that makes pronouns optional most of the time. Let me show you exactly how it works. Here's the key difference between English and Spanish. In English, our verb forms mostly look the same no matter who's doing the action. I speak, you speak, we speak, they speak. The word speak doesn't change. That means we absolutely need the pronoun to know who's speaking. Without I or you or they, the sentence makes no sense. Spanish works differently. Spanish verb endings change depending on who's doing the action. The ending of the verb tells you everything you need to know. When a Spanish speaker hears the verb hablo, pronounced hablo, they immediately know it means I speak. The O ending signals first-person singular. That's the grammatical term for I. They don't need to hear the word yo, which means I, because the verb already told them. Let me show you this with a common verb. The verb hablar, pronounced hablar, means to speak. Here's how it changes. Hablo means I speak. That O ending always means I. Hablas, pronounced hablas, means you speak. That AS ending always means you when talking to one person informally. Habla, pronounced habla, means he speaks, she speaks, or you speak formally. That single A ending signals third person or formal you. Notice what's happening. Each form has its own unique ending. Hablo, hablas, habla. A Spanish speaker hears any of these words and instantly knows who's doing the action. The verb carries that information in its ending. This is why Spanish speakers can drop the pronoun. They can just say hablo, and everyone understands it means I speak. They can say hablas, and everyone knows it means you speak. The pronoun isn't necessary because the verb ending already did the job. In English, if you just said speak, nobody would know if you meant I speak, or you speak, or they speak. We need that pronoun. Spanish doesn't. Spanish builds the information into the verb itself. Let's look at this with another verb, comer, pronounced co-mer, means to eat. Como, pronounced co-mo, means I eat. That O ending again. Comes, pronounced combs, means you eat. That ES ending. Come, pronounced come, means he eats, she eats, or you eat formally. Same pattern. Different endings, different meanings. So when you hear a Spanish speaker say como pizza, they're saying I eat pizza. The subject pronoun yo is unnecessary. The verb como already tells you it's I. When you hear comes pizza, that's you eat pizza. The verb comes tells you it's you, no pronoun needed. This happens in every tense, with every verb. Spanish verb endings always carry this information. Present tense, past tense, future tense. The ending tells you who's performing the action. That's why textbooks and Spanish speakers and real conversations often skip the pronoun entirely. Now, you might be thinking, if Spanish doesn't need pronouns, why do they exist at all? Why does Spanish even have the words yo, tú, él, and ella if they're optional? Good question. Pronouns in Spanish serve 3 specific purposes. Understanding these will tell you exactly when to use them and when to skip them. First, pronouns add emphasis or contrast. Imagine you and your friend are arguing about who ate the last cookie. In English, you might say, I didn't eat it, stressing the word I. In Spanish, you'd add the pronoun for that same emphasis. Yo, no loco me. The yo makes it clear, I'm the one who didn't eat it. Without the yo, the sentence no loco me just means didn't eat it, which is still grammatically complete but lacks that emphasis. Or imagine you're clarifying who's going to the store. You might say, he's going, not me. In Spanish, you'd say, él va, yo no. He goes, I don't. The pronouns él and yo create that contrast between two people. If you just said va without él, it would mean goes, or he goes, or she goes, but you wouldn't get that specific contrast you're trying to highlight. Second, pronouns clarify ambiguity. Remember when I said habla can mean he speaks, she speaks, or you speak formally? That a ending signals third person, but it doesn't tell you which third person. If you're talking about your brother and your sister and you just say habla español, the listener might not know which one you mean. So you'd add the pronoun. Él habla español. He speaks Spanish. Or ella habla español. She speaks Spanish. The pronoun removes the confusion. This ambiguity really only affects third-person forms, he, she, you formal, because they share the same verb ending. First-person I and second-person you informal have unique endings, so they rarely need the pronoun for clarity. Third, pronouns appear when you're learning and being careful. When you're new to Spanish, you might include pronouns more often than native speakers do, just to make sure you're being clear. That's fine. You'll still sound natural. Native speakers will understand you perfectly. As you get more comfortable, you'll start dropping pronouns the way native speakers do, keeping them only for emphasis or clarity. Let me show you what this looks like in real sentences. Trabajo en una oficina. That means I work in an office. No pronoun. The verb trabajo, pronounced trabajo, with that O ending, tells you it's I. Completely normal sentence. You could say, yo trabajo en una oficina, including the pronoun, and it would be grammatically correct, but it would sound slightly emphatic, like you're contrasting yourself with someone else. I work in an office, not him. Another example. Estudias español. That means you study Spanish. No pronoun needed. The verb estudias, pronounced estudias, with that as ending, already tells you it's you. If you added tú estudias español, it would sound like you're emphasizing the you part, maybe correcting someone or contrasting. You study Spanish, not French. Or you study Spanish, not her. Here's one more. Vive en México. That means he lives in Mexico, or she lives in Mexico, or you live in Mexico, formally. The verb vive, pronounced vive, doesn't specify which one. So if context doesn't make it clear, you'd add the pronoun. Él vive en México. He lives in Mexico. Ella vive en México. She lives in Mexico. Usted vive en México. You live in Mexico, formal. The pronoun removes the ambiguity that the verb ending leaves open. This is what I mean by Spanish carrying information in the verb. English spreads that information across two words, the pronoun and the verb. I eat, you eat, she eats. Spanish packs it into one word, como, comes, come. The ending does the work. When you're reading Spanish or listening to Spanish, this means you need to pay attention to verb endings. That's where the subject information lives. When you see a verb, look at how it ends. O means I. As means you, informal. A means he, she, or you, formal. Those endings are giving you the subject of the sentence without needing a separate word. And when you're speaking or writing Spanish, you can leave out the pronoun most of the time. Just use the verb with its correct ending. Hablo español. I speak Spanish. Comes pizza. You eat pizza. Trabaja aquí. He works here, she works here, or you work here. All grammatically perfect sentences. Add the pronoun only when you need emphasis, clarity, or contrast. This feels strange at first because English trains us to always include the subject. We never say speak Spanish or eat pizza or works here without a pronoun or noun before the verb. Spanish not only allows it, it prefers it. Dropping the pronoun is the normal, natural way to speak. Including it every time would actually sound repetitive or overly emphatic to a native speaker. One more thing worth knowing. Spanish has 6 different pronoun forms, but in everyday conversation, 2 of them are rarely used. Nosotros means we, and vosotros means you all, used in Spain. You'll see these in textbooks and verb charts, and their endings are distinct. Nosotros forms end in AMOS or AMOS. Vosotros forms end in AES or AES. But the same principle applies. If the verb ending makes it clear, the pronoun is optional. Now you understand why Spanish sentences often start with verbs. The verb ending carries the subject information that English puts in a pronoun. When you see hablo, hablas, habla, you're not missing anything. The subject is right there in the ending. Spanish isn't being vague or incomplete, it's being efficient. The language builds the grammar into the verb form so pronouns can stay optional, used only when they add something the verb doesn't already say. Next time you read Spanish and see a sentence with no pronoun, look at the verb ending. That ending is telling you who's doing the action. And when you speak Spanish, trust the verb ending to do its job. You don't need to add yo or tu or el unless you're emphasizing or clarifying. The verb already said it.